Next, when kids run wild, you've got a chance to make a fortune if you learn to spot the hidden millions.
I have got to do something with this. I can never get my 4-year-old and 11-year-old to do something at the same time.
When you least expect it, life will deal you lemons. We all know what that means. It's when you get handed the worst breaks, the hardest of hard knocks. Those are the lemons. The great challenge we all face is to turn them into lemonade. If you can do that, you can do anything. Start a business, make millions, anything. Lemons to lemonade to millions. I'm Donny Deutsch, and that's tonight's big idea.
Plus, the Pied Piper of inflatable plastic. Where she goes, kids follow. And she makes millions.
There is no reason in the world why you can't be a millionaire. Let me tell you something. Your road to riches is staring you right in the face this very minute. You just have to learn to spot the hidden millions. Brenda Dronkers was watching her children play when she saw her opportunity and started her company. Pump it up, 70 million bucks later, hundreds of franchises. Take me to the aha moment when you're out playing with your kids one day.
Well, actually, it was so fun. It was in the fall of 1999, and I have 3 children at that point, a 4-year-old, a 9-year-old, and an 11-year-old. And we went to a fall festival at our church. And our church, of course, being one of the traditional warehouse churches, we go in and we're going to, go to a little carnival, and they have a cakewalk, and In-N-Out Burgers is outside. It's kind of drizzly outside. We walk inside to the warehouse, and which is our worship area, and inside the warehouse are 2 huge inflatables. There's one bounce house and there's one slide.
Those are where the kids go in and these big inflatable areas, and they all jump and bounce.
Big inflatables. And my 4-year-old, he was the first one, and he immediately, his eyes just lit up, and he ran straight for the slide. And my other 2 were right behind him. So, of course, I got in line, and he just couldn't stop talking. He couldn't wait, but there was a big, long line. So I proceeded to wait in line for an hour and a half, where I would have much rather at that point been doing the cakewalk, getting a cake. And so, at any rate, what we did is we stood in line while he waited, and then my other 2 were right behind him, because he ran ahead to get in line. Went up the slide, went up 3 times, down 3 times, got back in the back of line again. That's what we did the entire night. There were tons of things he could have done there, but all he wanted to do was to go up and down that slide.
So what was the aha moment?
What happened is, as I was in line the second time, I was noticing that there were tons of games, tons of things to do, and all of the kids were either in the line for the slide or in the line for the bounce house. So I was looking around, and I was looking up at the warehouse, and I was thinking, wow, it's drizzly outside. Everybody's in here. I've never seen inflatables inside of a warehouse before. I think I have myself a business here.
Aha, the business basically, let's not wait for the carnivals.
Let's bring them to an inside building and bring the kids inside the building.
So basically you start these warehouses with nothing but these inflatable things. What an amazing,
Well, actually, it was a little better than that. This was my 4-year-old was just so excited about this business because it was a bounce house and a slide. But 3 days later, my 11-year-old went to a junior function at the church, and they had brought in the sumo wrestling, the gopher rollers, as well as a big boxing ring, and they were inflatable also. She came home, she couldn't stop talking about it, and I thought, okay, as a mom, there's nothing in the world that my 4-year-old and 11-year-old actually agree on. So I have got to do something with this. I can never get my 4-year-old and 11-year-old to do something at the same time, and they both enjoy it.
I love it. What's so great about your story, here you have no college degree,
nope.
You're a mother of 3, yet you were able to just see a moment, wait a second, this is what the kids love. Forget the way it's set up. Forget that these inflatables are only at these fairs. Right. This is where their heart is. This is where the magic is. And you got hundreds of these things around the country.
Right.
Fantastic, doing 70 million bucks, one simple idea.
Right.
I love it.
Well, I think the reason that it works so well is because if you take the inflatables, I mean, I don't know about you. I know for me, I've been to outside areas, and I've actually rented these in my backyard with my children.
For parties, yeah.
It's scary. It's scary to have a bounce house in your backyard and all of the neighbor kids are there and you have to watch it for 8 hours. And there's always bumps, there's always bruises, somebody's hurt. You know, you have to deal with the weather. Is it going to rain that day when you rent it? Is it going to be too hot? So when I decided to put it inside, I not only dealt with, you know, getting rid of the weather issues. You know, it's sometimes too hot, sometimes too cold. Now it's climate controlled.
It's perfect. You have a great lesson also. I love this story out there about the broker, real estate broker, the one that wouldn't take a chance on you, would take a chance because you were trying to get your first warehouse going.
Yeah.
What did real estate broker number one say to you?
Well, the first time when I decided that day, I decided that's it. This is what I'm going to do. Picked up the phone, called a big broker in our Pleasanton area, and I said, you know what? I've got this great idea. I want to look at buildings. And he said, who are you? And I said, well, you know, my name's Brenda, and this is what I want to do. And he said, have you ever done something like this before? No. Okay, you know what? I'm going to get back to you. I'll look up for some buildings, and I'm going to get back to you. I never heard from the gentleman again. I was so upset. I just really was hurt. I picked up the phone about 3 days later, called another broker. I'm like, forget this guy. This guy took me a little bit more seriously. At least he showed me some buildings. And I was really upset at that guy. Went out to look at some buildings, and the second building I looked at, it was a printing company. I mean, I'm talking printing presses.
Right.
And printing ink and smell and gross. That was going to be my pump it up. I knew it. And
you knew it. So this real estate broker, you've made second, number two guy, you've made riches. First guy, what's the first? Let's give him a little one of these. The first real estate broker wouldn't take you on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bite me.
Yeah, I don't want to say your name, but you know who you are.
Yeah.
It wasn't nice. And
yeah.
You know what? Meanwhile.
And your mother dresses you funny. Also a real estate broker number one
That's
who would
right.
take a business. Hundreds of franchises around the country now. That'll teach you.
That's right. And meanwhile, he does know it too, because he's been, you know, a little embarrassed a few times I've seen him around town.
Brenda Dronkers, founder of Pump It Up, More Big Idea. Sure.